If you're traveling by a public transport or sitting in a public place, in a public garden, or in a mall, just observe the people around you. What you would find is that a lot of people above the age of 25 are moving around with a protruding belly. Chances are, if you go to these people and ask them if they consider themselves as healthy, and they would say yes, because they are using BMI numbers to figure out if they are healthy or not. If you do a quick Google search, what you would realize is that India has become the third most obese country in the world. India is just behind US and China when it comes to the total obese population. 70% of Indian urban population is considered as overweight or obese, which includes 70 million adults and surprisingly 10 million children. The growth rate of obesity in India for adults is 4.1% and for children is 6.2%. In this report titled Prevalence of Obesity in India and its Neurological Implications, wherein 100,000 adults participated and their data was collected and analyzed. And what came up was that obesity levels in India are very high across all zones, whether it is north, east, south, or west. The odds of being obese increases with age and is higher among women and among urban dwellers. Obesity is the highest among aging urban men and women who are college educated and are sedentary. Physical activity and aging are the strongest determinants of obesity. Given the high cost of obesity in terms of type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular diseases, and Alzheimer's disease, urgent public health measures are necessary to reduce its impact. What you also might not be knowing is that India is considered as the diabetes capital of the world. In another decade-long study where 100,000 individuals above the age of 20 participated from across the country, what came up was that there are 100 million people suffering from diabetes in India. It also found that 136 million people could be living with pre-diabetes. The highest prevalence of diabetes was observed in Goa, Puducherry, and Kerala. The study warned of a sharp rise in diabetes in states like Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Bihar, and Arunachal Pradesh, where the prevalence was lower. And not only obesity and diabetes, India is also becoming a leader in cardiovascular diseases globally. In another study titled Cardiovascular Diseases in India, a 360-degree overview, Dr. A. Srinivas Kumar and Dr. Nakul Sinha have stated, cardiovascular diseases strike Indians a decade earlier than Western population. Indians are known to have the highest coronary artery disease rates. Within India, the rates of CVD vary markedly, with the highest in states of Kerala, Punjab, and Tamil Nadu. Moreover, these states also have the highest prevalence of raised cholesterol levels and blood pressure. Indians are liable to get hospitalized 2 to 4 times more frequently for complications of coronary artery diseases in comparison with other ethnic groups, and admission rates are 5 to 10 times higher for population younger than 40 years. It's no wonder that the average life expectancy in India is just 67 years, while some of the countries like Japan have an average of 85 years, with many Japanese living more than 100 years. So why is it happening with India? Does our genes have a role to play here? But if genes have a role to play here, how do we have some exceptional Indians who look like Greek gods even at the age of 50? Who are able to perform at a physically demanding game at a global level? Who have been able to run marathons even at the age of 100.
Being 89 years old and training for a marathon. Crazy, isn't it? This is indeed what Fauji Singh did.
Looks like these exceptional Indians know something which an average Indian does not. Let's look at the life of an average Indian. An average Indian will wake up, commute to office, work there for 10 to 12 hours, come back home, sit on a sofa, watch TV, order food online, struggle to go to sleep, and repeat the same thing for the next 5 days. Spending 100% of his active hours sitting on some kind of chair. How does their average diet looks like? They'll probably have something like an aloo parantha, curd, sugar, a mango achar, and extra butter in breakfast. They might have rice, dal, aloo gobi, and papad in lunch. and maybe 4 rotis, paneer butter masala, 1 piece of rasgulla in dinner. Beside that, they might have 3 cups of chai and 4 biscuits with each of these cups of chai. While the diet looks quite modest, but if you add it up, the total number of calories will come somewhere around 2500 calories. Now, an average 25-year-old Indian would be somewhere around 5 feet 6 inches in height, would have 70 kgs of body weight. And if you do a quick calculation, you will realize that the total energy requirement for his body is somewhere around 1630 calories. So if that Indian is eating 2500 calories, while the BMR, which is the total energy required, is 1600 calories, they are consuming in excess of 800 to 900 calories every single day. And if they continue to have this high amount of calories every single day, their body weight will continue to increase until they reach a body weight of around 80 kgs. The problem is that they would not realize that they are overweight and unhealthy because the number they're using to determine whether they are healthy or not is BMI, which says that you are normal if you are below a number of 25, you are overweight if you're between 25 to 29, and you're obese if you're above 30. But the problem with BMI is that when it is used to predict an individual's health rather than as a statistical measurement for groups, the BMI has limitations that can make it less useful, especially when applied to individuals with abdominal obesity, short stature, or high muscle mass. Basically, the same individual with the same BMI will have a very, very different health situation. More muscular, will be much healthier than the one who is not. As per the British Journal of Sport Medicine, muscle strengthening activities are associated with lower risk and mortality in major non-communicable diseases. Now that we understand the lifestyle of an average Indian, let's look at the lifestyle of an exceptional Indian. What are they doing every day? They are spending 1 hour working out every single day. Whether it is Hrithik Roshan or Virat Kohli, or Fauja Singh.
400 meters in 2 minutes 13.48 seconds. 800 meters in 5 minutes 32.18 seconds.
How does their diet look like?
70 grams of protein and some salad, veggies, if at all. And I keep tweaking things depending on my weighing scale.
90% of my food is all steamed.
खुराक गड़ी लम्मी बिल्कुल बजुर्ग आदमी दा ते मैं ना ਇਹ ਹਿਸਾਬ ਲਾਇਆ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਘੱਟ ਖਾਵੇ.
Now the question is, how can an average Indian become a healthy Indian? In order to become healthy, you need to do these 5 things. Number 1 is to reduce your body fat percentage. How do you do that? You do that by calorie restriction. There have been a number of studies and reports conducted across the globe which point to the fact that calorie restriction is the only way that you're going to see a change in your body weight, in your body fat percentage. In order to do that, you have to find your BMR. You can use ChatGPT, enter your height, age, gender, and ChatGPT will give you the total number of energy that you're burning while you're sedentary. The next step is to use some app like MyFitnessPal to track whatever you are eating so that you're able to understand what you're putting inside the body and are able to maintain that calorie deficit required. An easy way to achieve that calorie deficit is through intermittent fasting, where you skip either breakfast or dinner, and that way you reduce your total calorie intake. The second thing is to have a balanced macro and micronutrition. You should do annual blood tests to understand your blood sugar levels, your lipid profiles, and make dietary changes. Our diets are usually very high in carbs, low in protein, and high in fats as well. Dr. Vishwanathan Mohan has argued in the report, Are Excess Carbohydrates the Main Link to Diabetes and Its Complications in Asians? Mentioning that there are evidence to suggest that excess carbohydrate is linked to both susceptibility to type 2 diabetes and also to poor control of diabetes and proneness to complications of diabetes. The take-home message for Indians and Asians would be to cut down on carbohydrate intake from the present 65 to 75% to around 50 to 55%, add enough protein, 20 to 25%, probably from vegetable sources such as legumes and pulses, and the rest 20 to 30% from healthy monounsaturated fats such as groundnut or mustard oil, nuts and seeds. This would make our diets healthier and sustainable in the long run. On the basis of this recommendation from Dr. Vishwanathan, you can easily create your diet plan by leveraging ChatGPT. The third thing you have to do is exercise. As per the British Journal of Sport Medicine, maximum risk reduction, approximately 10 to 20%, was found when people exercise for 30 to 60 minutes every single week. If you're not able to do strength training, you should definitely do some walking. People who walk 8,000 steps every single day are able to reduce their all-cause mortality by 50% when compared to somebody who just walks for 4,000 steps every day. The fourth thing that you have to ensure is having a good night's sleep. Based on a meta-analysis of 67 studies which covered 3.5 million participants, there is an optimal sleep duration for healthy adults, which is somewhere around 7 to 9 hours. Any number of hours below this duration or above this duration is going to affect your health and longevity. And the fifth thing that you must do is subscribe to Total Macro.